the various stakeholders. We want to enable decision-making in constantly changing construction environments based on relevant data. Pointscene is a cloud service for construction professionals. With our solution, you can manage the up-to-date situation, track progress and monitor quantities of your construction site, and thereby increase the project's efficiency. So, not just another software for you to learn. Pointscene helps the management optimize site operations as the project progresses. Comparing the actual site conditions to plans avoids unnecessary work and delays. In addition, continuous quantity monitoring enables the project to proceed cost-effectively. Today, construction projects require a mixed fleet of technologies. That's why Pointscene integrates seamlessly with the most common software in the construction industry. Access project data no matter where and when you need it. Our customers have achieved significant cost savings by better work planning and also improved internal and public communication in projects. Sounds too easy? That's what it is.
Hello. Welcome to Pointscene Day, first of its kind. It's a privilege and honor to be here at the Kirahub Urban Tree location and with you online. So, first of all, I want to welcome you, everybody online, our speakers here in a live room and also via remote connections. We have an exciting day coming up. So, today is all about improving situational awareness in construction works. And today, it's the December 8th. We actually planned to have this event on the 1st of December. So the day would be 112, which is the phone number for emergency in Europe. But unfortunately, there was an overlapping event, a little bit less significant. Not. But there was slush last week in Helsinki. But we're trying to get to that same level of excitement and energy as there was in slush last week. But December 8th, it's a very important date for me personally, but also for the humankind. There has been some very famous artists born this year or this day. Today is the day of Finnish music. So Mr. Jean Sibelius was born on this date. We also have another artist, Sammy Davis Jr., who was born also on this day, and also Jim Morrison. So quite a good of set of newborns here. But unfortunately, we have lost also some people on this date. We lost John Lennon on the December 8th, and we lost Razzle, who was the drummer in Hanoi Rocks, a famous Finnish rock band who took over the world. And that's what we're doing right now as well. And my father was also born on December 8th, so happy birthday, Father, if you're watching. And but every now and then there comes a time or something happens which disrupts, for example, the music industry. We have seen the digitalization of music. And now we're digitalizing the situational awareness and the construction industry as we speak. So Also on December 8th, exactly 2 years ago, there was a thing called COVID-19. So on 2019, on December 8th, the first confirmed case was found in China. But now, that was sort of like on a little bit negative note. But on a positive note, the COVID, as Pointscene, we are disrupting, we are trying to change the industry for the better. And today, we are working towards that goal. So we have an exciting day today. We have very talented speakers, Mr. Aki Kopra, Jari, Pelkonen, Jyrki, Paavilainen, Miss Marion, Schenkwein, and Jero, Juujärvi speaking in this event. And we have a special guest star to start up the event. Tell a little bit about how data, how situation awareness can affect lives or save lives. And we have an exciting product launch as well. So this is something for you to stick with during the whole afternoon. We are here for you. So this is the Pointscene team. Unfortunately, we were not able to organize this event live, but we're online. We're available on LinkedIn, where you can connect or send us messages via LinkedIn or YouTube or our Facebook channel or our Twitter feed. And hopefully as many of you as possible has found your way to these online channels. But yeah, so this is the team. We started out as 2, which became 3, 4, and now we're 8 people in the team, and we are happy to answer any of your questions, comments, or needs further on. But we haven't come this far to only get to this far. So now let's focus on changing the construction industry and enabling situation-aware and data-driven construction works. We have our partners online. So we have a great set of partners, some new ones also in the bottom. Welcome IV Technologies and welcome Advian. And then we have a really interesting lineup of participants online. So we have been joined with customers, partners, interested people from all around the Europe, I would say. So last time I checked, yesterday we had participants in Finland, in our neighboring countries, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, and also in Central Europe. We have actually one of the first attendees was from Netherlands, which was quite interesting. We have Germany, we have Poland represented, France, Switzerland, Austria, and also some people from United States and Israel. So feel free to use the comment sections in LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube to create interaction. We are trying to answer your questions. All the speakers are open for questions as well. And after each speaker, we will take the best questions and then get answers for you there. So I'm encouraging you to participate both here live with the speakers and our own team, and also online. So without further ado, here are the participating organizations and many more. So I was not able to get everyone in. But now, without further ado, I want to thank you and introduce our next speaker, or our first keynote speaker, who is a mountaineer, a situational awareness expert, from the top of the world, literally. So let's give it up for Mr. Veikka Gustafsson to join the stage, and welcome. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Lauri. Great day from my side to all of you guys here in at the studio, and also all of you guys out there and online. As Lauri just mentioned, that Slush was last week, and we tried to get to the same level. I wasn't speaking at Slush. I was speaking here at the Pointscene Day. And the level we're gonna get next half an hour, I would like to show you a little bit different project, comparing construction work. And the project is to go on one of the highest mountains on globe. So Lauri said that I'm a mountaineer. To be honest, I'm retired. I'm not mountaineer anymore. I'm too smart for that. But I was young and stupid. I don't know. I think it was a good thing to do, and I feel very happy to show some of my experiences, and through those experiences I want to express the importance of data and information in this kind of a project. So if I look back, so my history as a mountaineer, I was for 19 years I was focusing for the highest peaks in the world. Only 2 days ago I watched from Netflix, I watched a movie where this Nepali guy, he climbed all these 14 8,000 meter peaks in 7 months. Okay, he was a little bit faster. It took me 19 years to do the same, but I did a little bit in a different way. But just as an example of all these 14, as I said, it took almost 20 years. One of the biggest obstacle of those 14 was the mountain here in the photo. It's called Annapurna. And good thing in mountain is that if you can't scale them, if you can't get to the top on during one expedition, during one project, so luckily they are pretty stable and huge giants, and they are standing there. They wait for you, so you can go next year or year after or later on to try the same thing. And this is really what happened on Annapurna. I went there first time with my friends, year 2000, and we didn't get that far. And again, we went 2002, and we needed to turn around. And the main reason we needed to turn around, and the main reason why I can say that Annapurna is the most dangerous of all those 8,000 meter peaks, you can see it in this photo. It's a really avalanche-prone mountain, and I have never seen that size of avalanches anywhere else. And when we look at the history of Annapurna, so it's really, how could I say, black. I mean, there's been accidents where the whole expedition, the whole team of climbers have disappeared due to some of these big avalanches. So that was one reason, and the main reason we needed to turn around those 2 first times when we visited Annapurna or tried to climb it. And then we even started to think that it might happen. Okay, I was already focusing to climb them all, but I was thinking that maybe Annapurna is too risky, that myself and my team of climbers who I joined, so we were not willing to take that big risk. But then we, as Lauri also said in the opening speech, so what we try to do at Pointscene is change the world and let the people, and that we could all think and do things differently and in a more effective way. So we also almost gave up Annapurna, but then we were thinking, maybe could there be a way? Could there be a possible way? How could we avoid the risk? So we came out with a totally different idea. How could we go and climb it? The idea was that first, why normally when you climb an 8,000 meter peak, the climb takes from how could I say, from 6 to 10, 11 weeks. Why does it take that long time? Because these mountains are huge. Just to give you a quick brief, what is the tragedy or tactic? How do you climb these peaks? Okay, first it can be challenging to even get to the foot of the mountain. Normally you trek in, you do the approach march. It's normally between 100 and 200 kilometers even to get there, and then you need to have all equipment what you need during this, let's say, 2-month climb. Once you get to the base camp, which is normally, when you look at the 8,000 or so, the average height of base camps is between 4 and 5 kilometers. That's already an altitude when you need to spend some time before going in that altitude to get your body time to get used to the lower oxygen level already in that altitude. And the same thing, I mean, you need, the word is acclimatizing. You need to acclimatize. You need to get your body used to this lower oxygen level. Then when you get to the base camp, so you build your home for the climb. That's your like place where from you start to do the project. And what does it mean? It's quite a lot like a construction project. You are not building a house or you are not building a road, but you are building a route, or maybe it's a road. You build a route up to the side of the mountain, and the aim is to get to the summit and of course to get back. Well, how does it happen? Let's say where I'm standing right now. So if this would be base camp, so then from base camp, with the information you have, of course, normally you have the information what you can see. So you choose the line what looks safe. So you choose the line where you're going to start the climb. And then you push, let's say during one day you can push few hundred meters the route further. What does it mean? It means that you carry a lot of ropes and all kind of supplies what you use to make the route as safe as possible. You push 300-400 meters up, and then you come back. You might have rest day. You plan with the team, what are the next steps, what do we need, and then maybe part of the team carries only loads to the high point where the work was stopped on a previous attempt. So and then there could be another guys who are going with lighter loads. They can get faster into the high point and they continue the work. And the part of the team are only ferrying equipment. And this is how it goes further and further, and always you come back to rest in the base camp. Of course, very often you are forced back due to the weather or whatever changes on a route. And when the team have opened as long distance of the route that you can travel within a day, let's say within a working day, average working day between 8 and 12 hours. So then you establish your first mountain camp. And you need to overnight there for 2 nights, once again to acclimatize your body for the low oxygen level. And then you come back to base camp, you pick up new equipment, you rest, you make another plan up to camp 1, you climb next day to camp 1, and then you push further. And this is how it goes. And this goes on days after days, weeks after weeks. On my longest expedition, it took us 12 weeks to set up 4 camps on the mountainside, and the idea is to have the highest camp as high that you could push from there to the summit and back. This is what we try to do. This is the work of a professional climber. So we didn't want to sit and do this thing and do the climb on Annapurna, which was too risky. So our new thinking and new idea was okay, let's climb a little bit safer 8,000 meter peak as a warm-up. And that's what we did. This is mountain called Choyu in Tibet. So we climbed first Choyu. It took us 7 weeks. And from there, due to our good size of budget, and why did we have a good budget? My climbing partner, if we would succeed, so he would become the first American to climb all the 14 8,000 meter peaks. So we had a really good budget, and that gave us the opportunity, instead of hiking down from Oy and coming by foot from that first mountain, so we could use helicopters, and then we flew also into to Annapurna Base Camp. Okay, now we are on our second peak during that season. And now we were acclimatized, so we had a lot of red blood cells in our blood, so we could cope with the low oxygen level. So now we, instead of this up and down for weeks and weeks, so now we could change the tactic. Now we could just, make one single push when the weather is good. So we could make one single push. We were planning that maybe it takes us 4 days to climb up, and then maybe 2 days to come down, and then game over. But anyway, Annapurna, as I said before, so it's really avalanche-prone mountain. So there was few things we needed to do. We needed very special information of the most dangerous part of the mountain. You can see the base camp here is 4,300 meters high. Annapurna was the first peak first of the 8,000 meter peaks climbed by a human being. It was climbed 1950 by a French expedition. And when you look at the pictures from that expedition 1950, and if you compare it with this photo from the base camp, the base camp was exactly at the same spot, 1950. But to get to the route, so the French climbers needed to they started climbing upwards straight from base camp. This is an example of global warming, what is happening in Himalayas. We need to upsail down first, 130 meters, very, very dangerous moraine phase to get to the glacier. So this much have the glacier melted since 1950. And that's, what I saw during those 20 years. So I think Himalaya is getting more dangerous all the time. So you need to follow really a lot what is happening around, and thinking which route is the possible route, and how to avoid all the dangers. Of course, Annapurna was the danger number one. The avalanches was danger number one on Annapurna, but of course there's all the other things too, the crevasses and so on. So now we were not fixing anymore that much of rope. We were carrying some very light rope with us. We knew that there's some very technical parts, so we fixed those. So we only, on the way up, we only put in, a few hundred meters of rope. Normally on our first climb on Oy, so we fixed close to 2 kilometers of rope, and that's one of the reasons how it looks like like a big construction work. A lot of equipment needs to be carried. Okay, we had a lot of equipment, but like my philosophy is more information you have, more equipment you have, more safe you are. It's less risky. I remember being asked many times, why do you carry that much of equipment? But normally, then when you face some really big problems, so no one is asking that, now why did you carry your sleeping bag if you are bivouacking in a snow, for example? I said before that we needed to have some special information. This is the north face of Annapurna, and this was the side we were climbing the mountain. We needed to know when this phase is. What is the time of the day when it's less active? But all the avalanches which are coming down, so they come down. There in the middle of the photo, you can see there's a like a runnel or a gully which is collecting all the snow and all the ice avalanches which are which are coming down the face. It's 2,500 meters high face. And the problem is that the same place where all the snow comes down, so that's the only place, I mean, the only access to the face. And because of that, we were sitting for 2 weeks and just monitoring this face to find out what is the most quiet moment during the day. And we found out that it was between 3 and 5 in the morning, and the reason that it was less quiet that time was that that was the coldest time of the night. So then all the ice and snow is solid frozen, and it's the safest spot. Okay, we knew that was information we got, but then we needed to have a weather window for, let's say, 5 to 6 days for good weather, and because of that we sat also another 2 weeks for the weather. Okay, I said that we could change the tactic, but anyway we needed to have the weather window and know when it's safe to go and not to go. Of course, not all the climbers, act like this or think like this, but I think this was the only way that we as a team could to try to climb the whole mountain. So it's also like a big waiting game. We had 3 guys, 1 guy in Stockholm, Sweden, 1 guy in Innsbruck, Austria, and 1 guy in Japan, in Tokyo, who were only doing weather forecasting for us. And we have invested quite a lot on that. And then after a few weeks of waiting, so it looked like we are not going to get that kind of weather window. So we changed the plan a little bit, that if we could get a weather window, that we could get high enough on the mountain above these major dangers, and then if we would be prepared with big loads, that we could have enough supplies to sit there for the next over bad weather, and to get another window for the summit push and then come back. So look like we're gonna have the first 3 good days, and there was 5 Italians, our colleagues. So we got together and we made a plan together who is going to carry and what, what kind of medical supplies we take, and how much do we have rope, and who's going to carry sat phone and so on, and then we went. So the idea is to collect, as much information as possible, make, decide as safe line on the mountainside as possible, and then when the conditions are perfect, so then it's a go, and we were going for the summit. My friend and myself, so we had made a promise to ourselves that we only pass that one dangerous part. We go once up and we come once down, and that's it. Hopefully in between we've been on the summit. Let's see. I don't know if any of you guys have seen a movie called Free Solo, which is done by Jimmy Chin. He was climbing with us up to our first mountain camp, and he was working for National Geographic and taking photos. And then, but he didn't come through that the most dangerous sections. He was too smart to do that. Another risk, if we think of risks, so there's a lot of principles in climbing. One principle, for example, and I would say that this principle is pretty good all over the world. If you move on glacier, be roped up or use a fixed line. Use some kind of a security rope. And I said that we were not fixing that much of rope, so it means that the team, you tie, you have a rope between each other, and you are tied to each other, and that gives the security. If someone falls in a crevasse is a hole, like a crack on a glacier. They can be hundreds of meters deep. So then the other guy, one takes a fall, other guy stops, and drags you up, and then the work is continuing. That's kind of how could I say, that happens almost every day when you travel on these glaciers. This was our first camp where we camped, and when you think of Himalayan camping, so it's a little bit different, like typical holiday camping. It's very small tents. Tent is a size that one takes a turn, another one takes a turn. You don't need to have a big negotiations or anything. All the equipment, they are more or less the compromises of weight and strength and warmth and this kind of, but you plan really well, each chocolate bar, what you take and what you not take, and there's a lot of planning involved. Now we are entering the most dangerous part. 2,000 meters above us, on the left corner of the photo, you can see a side of the glacier. It's 150 meters high. That gives you the scale. If and when something is breaking down, so it will come through the same runnel we were same gully we were entering the face. So which meant that during those 2 to 3 hours, when we were on the most dangerous area, so we were only focusing on moving and nothing else. Okay, maybe we took few photos, just while walking, but now here we are already a little bit on a safer ground. When we went further up higher, so the idea is to look from above. That's when we were monitoring the face, we were looking for the line that there's like house size of ice boulder, hopefully solid looking ice boulder. So underneath is a little bit safer, underneath this kind of a big ice boulder, a little bit safer than on the side of it. So our route went like underneath, straight up underneath the huge ice boulder. Then we made a traverse to the next line, which was underneath the huge ice boulder, and then straight up. And this is how the route went up. And that was really, we used a lot of time in advance to monitor it by binoculars and pick up the safest route. But of course, we saw it then when we were going up. So then we made the final decision where to go. We were a group of 6. The idea is, as you can see, higher you get, so the air is getting colder and snow is getting drier and deeper. So it means that more manpower you have, it's better. So the idea was that we changed the work in the front. That's the heaviest part, to open the trail. And also it's very good that in the team there is different kind of skills also. One of the Italians, he was like a ice climbing specialist, so he was leading these very steep ice parts. Then he was putting a rope in there, and rest of us could belay ourselves in this rope. I don't know, and then the whole team is kind of picked with different talents. I don't know what is my talent, but I was very strong in plodding in deep snow, in high altitude. That was my strength, but it worked pretty well. Anyway, weather was great. There's on the left corner again. There's another 8,000 meter peak, Dhaulagiri, which was my second 8,000 meter peak that I climbed, and the first one which I climbed without supplemental oxygen. And that was already 1993, so many years ago. In between Dhaulagiri and Annapurna is the Kaligandaki Gorge. That's one of the biggest gorges in the world. There's 6,000 meters from the summit to the river and 6,000 meters up. Finally, we get away from the Sickle Glacier. I mean, this glacier with this high side, so you can see that it's now on our route side, so everything which falls down there, so it doesn't affect us anymore. And this was the place where we established our last camp. We had two times a day, midday and 1800 hours PM. So we made a phone call to our weather guys, and then we also gave they gave us forecast, but we told them how was the weather, what were the wind. We have wind meter and stuff, so they could calibrate the forecasting for us. We were helping them to improve the forecasting. We knew that it's going to be bad weather, so we sat in this tiny tent. We sat there for 4 days, and as the weather forecast was saying, so finally the wind died. The 4 Italians who were climbing with us, they didn't have enough supplies, so 2 of them turned around, and we went as a 4. We started our summit push. We started at midnight. Why do you start at midnight? Oh, I didn't have any photos of that. It was -40, so it's freezing cold. The idea is to start early enough to get to the summit early enough to have daylight to come back to your high camp. And what happens very often that people, forget, or I don't know, for some reason they don't follow this basic rule. One of the basic rules in summiting, if you get that high, is that you should be at the summit before 1400 hours, and then there should be only one way, which is down. Especially during the summit day, as you can see here, the snow is really deep. We were doing we did few times. We monitored the snow. We dig the hole there, and we look at the different layers. Is it still climbable? If the layers are not attached to each other, so then the avalanche risk could be too high, and we need to turn around. But luckily, while we monitored the snow, so it told us, okay, it's still the different layers are glued to each other, so they still hang there, and we can continue climbing. After 11.5 hours from the high camp, we were finally on the top. So you could easily, I don't know, you could think that this was a time for big celebration and soon be open champagnes and so on. Not exactly, a little bit too early. To be honest, the summit is behind me, like 10 meters behind. The snow was like a cookie or something, like a hollow cookie. It didn't even cross my mind that I want to go and stand there on the summit like Sherpa Tenzing, waving, ice axe and Finnish flag. But as a professional climber, so part of the duty is to wave these flags. And I'm pretty happy that we did it. This is, there's a big, how could I say, economic impact in waving these flags. Those days, the biggest website in the world was msn.com, and there was a 10-man team, making content for msn.com, and luckily, and this is like this. It's not very good photo, but it's a photo of what Rolex, for example, used for global marketing for quite many years, and I'm a happy guy to have. I owe the rights, not my friend. He's in the photo and he's a star, but I owe the photo rights. So it's very important. We were there for 50 minutes, maybe waving the flags, but all the time we're thinking, okay, now we are here. Now we need to get back. It's not done yet. So we went down for 2.5 days. And I could say that the best moment in this kind of expedition is this. After reaching the base camp, after you've been recovering a little bit, maybe slept for 15 hours, then you can first time think that, we did it. You can't think it before. And very often what happens, people do very good cooperation. They go by the book and they work hard as a team, and then they finally get to the top. But then when they're on the summit, so they lose their, I don't know what happens, like mentally, they think that it's done. And then you make a childish mistake and the triumph, turns to catastrophe. That happens very often in Himalayan climbing. We were done. We could make a phone call and order the helicopter and fly to Kathmandu. and that's what happened. No more plodding, and it was game over, and now it was time for party. And if I remember right, so we shared a beer with the team, and now when I look these photos from 2005, so I'm pretty happy that I've done it and I don't need to go back. And one thing which I wish now when we are, having our Pointscene day, if we would have had, platform as a Pointscene, so I would say that our risks, would have been a lot more smaller. And if we, that we have, instead of, writing all the information on papers and so on, and all discussing, to have them stored in one place, so that could have helped a lot. Maybe one day, I might go again and really see how Pointscene would work in this kind of project. Thank you very, very much of your attention, and I wish us a good Pointscene day, and best of luck on. I always say that everyone have their own mountains. I wish best of luck and lot of sisu, as we say in Finland. So for everyone's own projects and mountains. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Veikka. A few questions or additional comments. First of all, thank you for the very, very good presentation and very exciting one. I almost got my heart was bumping. The closer the peak we got, the more the heart was beating, and I wasn't sure if you're gonna make it back, but luckily you.
But I'm here, so no, I think.
So, first of all, I assume that you had pretty good plans before you went.
Yeah,
But,
really.
how did you follow those plans, or what?
How could I say? Of course, there's a lot of planning involved. But then, anyway, I could say that the plans, they never happen as you planned, but you need to change them all the time, and that's one of the biggest challenge in this kind of act.
Yeah, and that most likely is something that you can relate within the construction industry, especially when you go underground. You find something, you need to change your plans, you have your designs that just doesn't fit with reality. So do you feel that with the data or with the plans you were able to do changes as well?
Yeah, we were able, but one of the big challenges, so if you would say that there would be a team of 10 climbers on that size of a project, I mean that size of a mountain, and then there's 2 guys in 7,000 meters and 2 guys working in 5,000 meters, and some people doing things in base camp. So how to get them on the same page? That, of course, everyone is collecting kind of data, what they see and what are the changes on a route, for example. But the challenge was that those days there was only like radios, or then we were together, or you met someone, you were coming down, someone was going up. If you forgot to tell, what you experienced, so that could be a really fatal thing. So, I mean, that to have all the information to everyone's use. So that was one of the great things, and also it was a question of leadership, that we build that kind of culture, that we divide all the information.
Yeah. Let's give one more round of applause for Veikka Gustafsson, true mountaineer and a experienced climber, of course. We will have a short 5-minute break, and after the break we will have 2 presentations from covering, for example, one of the biggest construction projects in the capital region, the Crown Bridges Alliance. So a few minutes of break, and then let's get back here 20 past. Okay. We're back. So our next speaker is coming from Kreate, a construction company in Finland, and Mr. Aki Kopra is the design manager. Does that sound correct? Yes. And you're mainly working now with the Crown Bridges construction project, which is the largest bridge ever built in Finland. 1,200 meters is one of the 3 bridges that you're building.
Yeah, one of the 2 bridges actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, please, Mr. Aki Kopra, welcome and with applauses. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, let's get started. My name is Aki Kopra, as Lauri mentioned, and I'm working as a design manager in a company called Kreate. And at the moment, we're constructing the biggest bridge in Finland, the Crown Bridge. And I'm going to tell you about this project and how we manage the digital situational awareness ecosystem on the site and how to get best out of it. My background is in bridge building and bridge engineering, and I'm really keen on speaking about that, as Veikka had a really inspiring presentation before, and he was talking about mountains that he was scaling, and my mountains maybe are these bridges and the digital ecosystem that goes along with those. So let's start. What is the Crown Bridges project? I'm a bit mandated to tell you shortly about the backgrounds of it. It's a project that consists of two parts actually. The other part is an all-in contract with the city of Helsinki that we are part of in a joint venture with by Kreate and YIT. The bridges are designed the whole project is designed by WSP Finland, and we are constructing 2 bridges between Kalasatama and Laajasalo, and the Kruunuvuoren silta is going to be the biggest bridge in Finland. And the other part of the Crown Bridges is the Crown Bridges Alliance, which will be constructed, which has a much bigger project scope, and there have once we get the bridges finalized, they're going to be developing the infrastructure connection of the bridges and the whole project. And Jari Pelkonen, who's going to be speaking next, I think, is going to be telling us more about that. So I just spare my words about that, so I won't butcher any details. So this is a good visualization about the project, and our scope is roughly here. As you can see in this beautiful BIM model almost. I enriched this model with some information, and the information is the contract borders. And you can see there's here is the Finken silta, which is a smaller bridge where it's still a quite reasonably sized project in the Finland scale. Then we're going to be constructing infrastructure in Korkeasaari. Korkeasaari is going to have a new entrance as well. And the biggest, the most interesting part for me as a bridge engineer is going to be the Kruunuvuorenranta bridge, the Crown Bridge in this project. Here's also a beautiful visualization of the bridge, which is what it's going to be looking like from Kulosaari side, I believe. And as you can see, there's a big high pylon that is going to be roughly the same height as Näsinneula. Because I'm from Tampere, I always remember that Näsinneula is roughly 130 meters, and this is going to be around 135 meters. So it's going to be a bit higher. And most of the structures, as Lauri also told us before, that it's hard to get a grasp of things that when we are constructing underneath ground, and here we are constructing underneath underwater and underground as well. So most of the difficult structures, or some of the most difficult structures, are underneath the ground and underwater. But we have also some solutions for that as well, how we tackle those challenges. And project in the size of this, there's a really big digital ecosystem on the site, and all the different tools, they have their own applications, and they control certain type of data and certain and they all have different owners inside the project as well. So how do we get the best of this whole system is the point of my presentation today. And of course, I'm going to be focusing a lot to the point scene, because we have using that, utilizing point clouds, orthophotos, sharing those, and then connecting those to BIM models, and so on. So the main focus is going to be in point scene and BIM. Yep. So how we take the upper hand of all this? Well, I'll tell you how we do it. So, but let's start with these fundamentals that I always like to share when giving my presentation. Maybe some of you have seen these before, but when you focus only on tech, it might be a bit of a problem, because technology is just a tool. And first, we usually start with that we introduce new technology to the processes or workflows, and I feel it's only a tool, and it's in the end of the actual improvement. So when introducing something new, we have to establish trust that is new thing, and through trust, it creates culture. Okay, we want to do things better. We want to be doing things in a new way, when improve ourselves. And when we have decided that we are improving, and we have this buzz, as here in Marion, I believe in GitHub, there's a lot of buzz, and we create new processes. And after these processes, we get to the technology and software. Then we can think what kind of processes these tools help. But usually we start from the technology side. But and this is another issue, that there's an underlying problem, because we have a different type of expertise still on site. Because construction is a very like conservative industry, and we might have inside a project, inside a company, might have like two types of different workflows. We're aiming at the same goal here. We're trying to build the biggest bridge in Finland, but we're speaking about completely different ideas or different methods of working. So these are these two different arrows, and that's what they represent. So we have a normal designer, project manager, foreman, basic surveyor, and a construction worker. So, and whereas we might have on the same side, the other side of the project, we have BIM coordinator, BIM manager, modeler, drone pilot, automation operator, and they're the same way, but they don't speak to each other because they speak different language. We have these digitalized people, and then we have the guys who actually do it. And that's something we are trying in Kreate and in this joint venture in YIT, trying to accomplish, that we would be working towards the same goal. So, start by bringing technology to familiar processes first, such as organizing photos or creating certain meters for safety and quality assurance. And this is an it has been a really easy way to start with the guys, that when you take photos, you use this certain app, and just name them in a current way and point them in the design. Simple as that. But when we go forward like 3 or 4 years in the project, we would like to know that when we were constructing this and that, and when we covered it with soil and underground, what did it look like? It's really hard to find the photos afterwards if they're in the dump. And next, approach key players with solutions that they already trust. Everybody trusts their aerial photos, right? So that's where guys at Pointscene come along. So this has been really helpful. And some of the guys, older guys, said that why haven't been introduced this system before? Well, I don't know. I don't know reason for that, or I won't speculate about that. But it is really easy to find clashes between on-site progress and the designs, as you can see. You can see here in Korkeasaari, there's this waterway. There's still water. We're just doing dredging works, but when it's going to be ready, there's going to be the whole tramway and streets, trees and such. It's not a very informative design, but when comparing it with the aerial photos, it paints a really nice picture. And of course, we can calculate cuts and fills and spaces for machines and such, and that was an easy process that we could introduce digital workflows to the guys. But in this project is helpful for us and us virtual builders, that these bridge structures and the earthworks are very well designed and modeled by WSP. As you can see, these are very detailed models from, as you can see in this screenshot from the pylon. So let's introduce, guys, these as well, and share these models to everyone. And next one, enrich the data in key phases. One of the key phases in constructing a bridge is building a temporary structures. We have a lot of scaffolding, supporting structures, and here when we are crossing a water obstacle, really big one, over 1 kilometer, from Laajasalo to Korkeasaari, we're going to be building a temporary bridge first, and temporary bridge is going to be spanning the same span as the whole bridge, so it's going to be 1 kilometer long. So it is really useful to design and model these as well. As you know, if you're BIM aware people, and all of these objects in the model, they carry their weight, volumes, and place and such. So when we design this, we create a lot more data to guys on site to plan their work than just we would produce just normal 2D drawings. Because usually a contractor starts the project and they do their own designs. They might have BIM models from the bridges or earthworks from rubber designer, but they don't model that much themselves. So they're only partly using the digital 3D world. They're not adding the actual elements that are needed to conduct the project and actually make the bridge. But in this project and in Kreate, we do that. That's our key competitive edge. Here's some of these, more of these pictures. You can see there's a sort of a caisson structure. There's an underwater, and you can see there are a lot of clashes that hasn't been resolved yet, but are to be resolved. And yeah. And when we have already progressed on site, we should compare the designs with the data on site. And here we can use is a good example. We have completed a dredging work near Korkeasaari, and here is the final surface of it. It's compared with the design. You can see the different numbers there. They represent the difference between the design and the real world. But as the dredging excavator is not that precise, as the whole one excavating takes 15 cubic meters of soil in one time, so it's not that precise. But the point here was that you can easily compare drone images and designs and then the measurements on site. And this brings the data to the actual stakeholders or the project managers on site. And another one that's comparing as-built data with designs. You can see here we have these temporary structures, the actual structure of the bridge, and then the drone images from Pointscene with an API with a Trimble Connect. And as you can see, it tells a lot about the site. I don't know how much do you see in remote. We have remote connection, but you can see here that there's a point cloud here that shows the progress of the temporary bridge, and where there's not the point cloud, they haven't yet completed the construction of the temporary bridge. Yeah, this is better. And we can also do that underwater as well, because our guys here in Pointscene, they support an underwater point clouds as well. And you can see here scanning from the pylon, because we have really big lifts coming next, not next summer, but summer 23. So we have to make sure that if we need to dredge the bottom and secure the bottom of the sea for the bigger sea lifts, because they're gonna be driving these bigger steel assemblies with those water-based lifts there. So we need to make sure that we have enough room underwater. And pardon my bad water seaman dictionary. It's just not very good. And here's another one. We have scanned underwater structures and how they clash with these temporary bridges. Yep. And then visualize the project progress. We can visualize it with point clouds, as you saw, but we can also do it a much more simplified way as well, using colors in BIM. And here you can see the green is ready on the site. Here, this temporary bridge has these green colors, and some of these bearing wall, supporting walls. And yellow is under construction, and red is under construction but paused. And this might not show much for it's might be hard for you to spatialize it, but in those colors you can still get a grasp of those colors, what they represent. And yeah, there's also another picture about the project progress. It's from last Friday. Actually, the Crown Bridges Alliance do very good job flying this area with drones, and they supply the images for us as well, so we can use those as well. So here you can see we have these sort of extra piers for these supports, and they haven't been yet constructed, but we're making a good progress towards the support 9 here in Kruunuvuoren Ranta side, as the point cloud shows. So, how to make bridge construction site more situationally aware? Let's go through these 5 points. So, bring the technology to familiar processes first, such as organize photos well, and take those. Then approach key players with solutions they already trust, like compare the aerial photos with those background maps. Enrich the data, design more, model also the temporary structures. Then compare on-site data with designs. Use point clouds with BIM, with 3D models. And then visualize the project progress using point clouds or different color codes. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aki. Great presentation, and well, like you pointed out a few nice Pointscene points already there. So we will most likely quote you on those later on in our marketing materials, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, first of all, thank you for the great presentation, and yeah, I sort of by looking at the screenshots and presentation images, of course. It's a huge project with a lot of stakeholders. By the way, how many designers do you have in the project, and how many you will have building?
Well, we only have like 40 to 50 guys at the moment on site, like workers. But designers, that's an all-in contract, so it is pretty much designed. But we have workshop designs and these assembly designs and installing and temporary structures, and in that we have roughly 10 to 12 designers there working for this joint venture with YIT, and that's my job to coordinate those. But of course, it's going to just take for like a year and a half from here, and the designing phase should be over, or maybe sooner.
Okay, but that's already quite a bit of people to introduce to the project as it progresses. Yeah. There's one question from the United States, actually. So hello, hi Joseph. Nice to see you online. So Joseph's question was, how does Pointscene integrate with the bathymetry and topographical vertical datums? So maybe that would be a question for me instead
not
of
for me.
yeah. So yeah, Joseph, we support within our API and in our backend we support all the projections for the 2D data, but for the vertical datums we can do geodetic, like orthometric, how do you put it? Yeah, orthometric corrections to the data, and you can apply even your own datum there. So we support that. So that was more maybe a technical question on our side. But yeah, one more thing. You mentioned introducing the technology on site to the people. So what do you expect that you will have introduced by the end of the project, and what do you have introduced to them right now?
You mean like how many different technologies or people?
Technologies. Like if you see it's a huge project, 5 years time. So what do you introduce now to the site and make it sure that it's being adapted to, and what you can see from here to the end of the project? What might be the digital process in 5 years?
We're trying to make sure that when we started the project that we picked all the best solutions or the best partners, so we don't have to change the digital tools or applications on site. That's our hope, and that's where we are aiming for. So, but of course, if we would like to do a switch to another technology, of course, since we're using those open formats or compatible formats, it wouldn't be that bad. But then educating the people to how to use new tools, that would be a big hassle. So we kind of want to stick with the technologies what we picked at start, and then use them through the whole project. So.
Yeah, very good to hear. One more question, because there are, of course, not too many huge projects like this, but do you think that these same guides, same instructions, same points that you raised, do you see that those apply for smaller projects as well?
Yeah, sure. They do as well. Like, we've been doing this stuff like in several projects this year already. The same applications, not with this or scale or frequency or with these big people, but still, yeah, we didn't like make up new stuff when you started. Oh, we are gonna building the Crown Bridge, the biggest bridge in Finland. Now we're gonna try something new. So we're not piloting that much here. Actually, we are piloting like small bits inside these technologies or applications, but we are not piloting like completely new ecosystem or such, so say.
Yeah, very good. And thank you once more, Aki, for the great presentation, and thank you for the collaboration so far. And let's move forward with that. And next up, we will have Mr. Jari Pelkonen. He will be joining us online, and he will be continuing with the Crown Bridges project, but on the onshore side, I would say. So the Crown Bridges Alliance, which is consisting of different contractors, designers, and the city of Helsinki, and Mr. Jari Pelkonen is the BIM manager or BIM lead in that project during the construction or on the construction works. So Jari, you are here. Can we hear you, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome, and the floor is yours. So, please, and thank you already.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure and opportunity to come and tell about how we are doing and what kind of solutions and how the construction is enabled to utilize different kind of solutions in project world. I will tell shortly about the one project organization, like Aki already showed, and here we can see that I'm talking about this right side, where we have this alliance model, and we are already almost 2 years old, so we can walk now and we can do the construction work. We have the client, city of Helsinki, and then we have the designers, Situational, Ramboll, and Sweco Infra, and contractors via the Finland NRC group. We are quite familiar to each other already because we have tram history, and obviously we hadn't, like Aki already said, that we haven't developed any kind of that in a way new, because we develop on the step that the previous project has taken already. But if the alliance model isn't familiar to everyone, there's like the key point is that we all share and all the risks and benefits of the end result. So we don't have any different kind of goals. We either together we win or together we lose. And what have happened in previous section is that it's almost like 10-year-old project before the actual construction, and like the biggest decision is made in 2016 that the general plan was approved, and they decided to go with this project. And when it's going to show for the whole tram for people and citizens is that the commercial servers should be beginning in 2027. Where we are and where is this in a bigger picture is that obviously in Helsinki and southern Helsinki, and this connects railway station and Laesalo, like which will like attach Laesalo to central Helsinki, and Kruunuvuoren silta is the biggest bridge in this project, and the total whole contract of Aki's people, and what we just showed, have seen that is like a key landmark, and the name is from the bridge also. There's some like cutting edges in Yliskylä and railway and city of Helsinki and the railway station that these who make the last call and last decisions decided to cut the railway station part off in this point, that this light blue line is that we are doing. And there's also this Hakkonenlahti, which is that southern ring rail to the Helsinki. This is the picture how it connects to the network. It's already there, and there's obviously Hakaniemi, Nihti, and in Laesalo there's 2 points of in Laesalo there mainly, which is the end point in this design. And there's like two tram routes. One is to Hakkanenlahti and another is to Yliskylä. How we are divided to this project is this kind of a picture, and why I'm showing this is that when you are planning how to do the data management, for example, of and how the project is divided to the parts, and how like costs are allocated and such, you need to always also think how you're going to be managing the data and how you organize the data. So basically we have the Hakaniemi is one region for us, and Laesalo is another, and when the Crown Bridges project goes a little further, we attach more like a aerial photo, which I'm going to show a little bit later, in Kruunuvuoren silta. And this is also like a metadata for us, that when we are talking about designs or data in Hakaniemi, they have this aerial coding. There's a little bit smaller areas also where we are executing like the basic tram project and some like connected project parts, because we see this more like we see this more like a urban planning project, and also the like third parties and block who's building the city blocks and housing properties. They have their own needs, and they come like an addition if they come after we have made the like the boundary box, what this project consists of. And what have we done so far is that we began this project from Laajasalo in Kruunuvuorenranta, which was the one reason to start from there, that the bridge project itself gets like better trampoline in a way that they can get like a fast start there, and we are not in their feet and middle of the like the big bridge construction. And I'll show you also some photos from Hakaniemi. And why this is like an urban planning project is that we are in middle of Helsinki. Basically, Hakaniemi is more, and this project is more just a tram. So this is like the initial drone data from Hakaniemi, and you can see the light blue lines, which are the geometry of a tram line. And this is something that it will be shown as a citizens in the future after the hotels and different kind of blocks are built to the next to that bridge. So it's going to be a way different. And now, obviously, this is a architectural view of the situation, but this is one kind of. And this is the other side of that Hakaniemi silta, which is will be our like a main bridges and main focus in these first years. And the shore is also widening to the water, and these buildings will be in nowadays they will be in the sea. And I will show you these rough pictures because this is the construction situation basically. If you look a little bit far away, these areas you will see like pixels. That's the truth of construction and like the situation a little bit far away. This is also the initial stage when nothing has come to this area, and this is a picture of this November before that light snow that came to us. And what we are doing here is that we have also things underwater, like Aki and the project. We have to make firstly also dredging that we sink there into the bottom of the sea, temporary pressurized wastewater pipe, which connects the southern Helsinki to this Hakaniemi area together, and people can flush their toilets in the future too. And it's temporary because the final pipe comes to the new bridge, which is here. And The old pipe is located under this new bridge, which had to be removed before the bridge construction can be the real starting point. Now I think it's now the time when the new pipe is operating and we can start our biggest bridge building. Also a steel structure where a lot of geometrical like changes all the time. And obviously there's a quite big traffic, and the traffic arrangement should be and had to be settled with the current situation and the situation that changes during the construction. And at this point we can go to the use cases, and also little this kind of point out, as well as Aki, we haven't done anything, any cooperation before this event, but also point out that anything cannot be done without that common ways to do things. Like we have that goal to achieve, and how we're going to achieve it is that obviously we have to have that organization in place, and also involve the parties and system owners like gas operators, teleoperators. But also we have to have the solutions, the people, solutions, and the data combined with the communication, we can achieve the goal. And here's one picture of our Hakaniemi area, where there's quite a lot of that, I would say, new and old information about sewers and pipes underneath the surfaces. And also, when we are talking about situational awareness, we had to have that, obviously those like basic solutions and data for everyone. Here's an example of different kind of setups to that same data in different platforms. You can see that same timeline in CAD versions and drone data versions, 3D model versions, but in the back end there is that one and same data for this aerial material we are like sharing to people. And also, like I would like to talk a lot of surveying, but I'm not going to go so deep. But here is also the window for surveyors, how they can reach that snapshot of that specific point of timeline. And we obviously have to have solutions for different personal types and data types in different formats and such, and they have to be easy accessible, and the data had to be up to date all the time. And here, so like one solution, how our 2D maps from client database is shown and can be accessed to different data sources. Here's, for example, of this district heating and a cadastral map with that little bit faded orthophoto from the time of 26th of November in Laesalo area. And these are like always available when you have that network connection to that system or PC, and also works in as well as in tablet and mobile devices. And like I mentioned, one of the key users to be a good site and good project for citizens is as well as the arrangements, and they had to be fitted into those temporary arrangements that have been already executed. And here I just asked from one of the planners that the main thing is that they ensure that the track lanes are wide enough and it's that the traffic flows very smoothly, and also the work can be done in the places. So we can also ensure that the work areas are as big as they need for that. For example, structure to be constructed for the bridge, and foundations can be done, and there's enough room for machines and such. And also moving between these construction phases when traffic is arranged to another route, they had to figure it out that what is the actual situation inside. And also designing plays a big role, obviously, and you cannot do anything by like one data for that, for example, that model or just map of design, map of the design or map of that drone data or map of surveyed data, but you have to be able to combine different kind of data sources in a decent way and easy accessible way, and offer those to the project parties that they can make the right decisions from. So here is a same sort of snapshots from the 3D model, and there's like a basic background and back layer from the ground, and there's an order photo which isn't in the place when you're looking from the side view. So you need to go maybe and look from the upside straight up, so you can notice that these designed manholes are in place and can be done there. But maybe you need to ensure that also with the drone data and the surface that what is the actual situation there. And I can assume that all people aren't doing these all steps, but those who should and could do that are trained, and the solution is very easy to do these steps. So there's some sort of wall structure between the housing and the current houses, and because of the road is pressed a little bit deeper, and end surface because of the tram it had to be smooth and not so steep in this there's a little bit downhill and uphill here if done in this current situation. And some pictures at the end part of this show is that obviously surveyors does like a lot of cleanups for different kind of solutions, and there's always that thing that we want to offer a better understanding of the situation awareness, that where we have these as-builts and with combined data from drones or machine control and designs to ensure that we have as-built as they are planned to be. So there's on the left side you may see these temporary traffic arrangement. It's going to be like a roundabout, and it's going to. I think it's going to be in use before Christmas. And also we do with drone data and situation data. We do calculations, for example, this blasted rock and excavation and follow-ups. But obviously, when the work is done, it isn't done in offices. It's done in the site, and we are using also this drone data with the design to give more understanding for supervisor and labor work in the actual work that can be done a bit more easily, and they understand, for example, different kind of changes that what have to be like done if some manhole cannot be like fitted in one place, and what does it make for that room there, and is there room for the actual work and such. But we are working in very limited surrounding, and as well as I know there isn't that we have like all the tools for having like better decisions and making and executing better decisions and designs. And just the end of just a couple of pictures how it looks from the bird's eye, and there's like quite a lot of activities going on in Hakaniemi, in this northern part of this Hakaniemi bridge. And also like a snapshot from the there's a in the back you can see the temporary bridge for pedestrians and cyclists, and those arrangements which are currently in there. But thank you, and ready for questions maybe.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
From the live audience. Yeah, let's give it up to Jari Pelkonen for the great presentation. Yeah, thanks. Now you get a more live feeling. I know that sometimes having a remote talk, it might be feeling like you're talking to yourself. but we are here, and the audience is online as well. So yeah, thank you for the presentation, and in comparison to Aki's previous presentation, you encounter a lot of surprises, a lot of changes, but due to different reasons. For example, the traffic arrangements you mentioned. So if you compare the situation now and the tools that you have in place, the data that you have in place, if you compare that to, let's say, 3 years back or 5 years back, how the designers and how the office back office people could know if the arrangements are done as they were supposed to be, or like how do you see that this affects the everyday work of a like traffic designer, for example?
A good question. I haven't the total truth, but I would say that there's like less errors when you have that up-to-date data and shared in real time to people. I think that there's like more pencil work in the next phase traffic arrangements if they are not done in the way that they are planned. Obviously, we have this design management when we think with contractor and designer that how the surroundings should be like arranged and the traffic should be arranged that this work can be done. So maybe in this execution model, we also have better opportunity to ensure that it's in a way that contractor wants.
Yeah, most definitely, and I assume that as much as, or I haven't been that much working on the site, but more likely the people on the site might have like a different type of eye for things to understand things. But when I go to a site, I'm like totally lost, and it's a complex environment, constantly changing, etc. So but yeah, what do you think that are the like first benefits to the people on site, if you think about that?
The biggest benefit is to like run and manage with the team that site and execute those tasks in the schedule. Obviously, if people are coming or leaving with the project and people are changing, you can adapt people and get into much faster than when you have that different kind of tools that when you can combine with the current situation.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you, Jari, for your great presentation, and we will have now a approximately 10-minute break and continue around 1:30. So, thank you, and off you go, and come back in 10 minutes. No niin, yes. Welcome back to the stream, Pointscene Day stream, and we have session number 3, I think, starting up. And this session will be more on the infrastructure owner's perspective. And first we have Mr. Jyrki Paavilainen from WSP Finland, senior expert or something like that. Senior expert in asset management in WSP, but you also have been working on the City of Helsinki development projects. So you have also both side, from the consultant side and from the owner's side experience. And welcome, Jyrki. It's a privilege for us to have you here. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lauri. Thank you, Pointscene, and good afternoon. My name is Jyrki Paavilainen, and I'm really coming from WSP. At this time, I'm not making a speech or presentation about the asset management. I'm going to talk about street development in City of Helsinki. I had a privilege to work for 2 years, more than 2 years, for City of Helsinki and for ex-mayor Jan Vapaavuori, with a very comprehensive strategic project to develop streets works in Helsinki, and that is the topic today. Few things about WSP. I'm quite fresh also there. I started at WSP beginning of September this year, and in Finland we have around 700 experts and globally 55,000 people in technical roles working within the built environment development. When I started, I knew that WSP is big, but I was surprised how big we are in transportation and infrastructure sector and especially in US and Canada. And that picture shows also where our revenue is coming from, and the two big segments are Europe and Americas. In Finland, WSP is providing these services. We are quite big in civil and transportation, buildings, industry, and of course within the project management sector. But after acquiring the Golder, we are going to be quite big also with the environmental sector. Shortly about me, as Lauri mentioned, I have experience from the city or municipality side. I started my career within the Finnish transport agency back in 1994, 1995. I graduated from Kuopio Polytechnics as a civil engineer, and since then worked with mainly with the consultant sector. And since 2016, my loved one has been asset management. I kind of started my strategic asset management career then, and have been quite active also with the international societies. About the streets construction in Helsinki. City of Helsinki is the major player within the Finnish infrastructure sector. It's the biggest infrastructure constructor with the Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency. The investment level has been between 150 to 2,000 million euros per year. And of course, nowadays, those Alliance projects, new tram lines, are major projects. But in the next few years, basically one major street will be under construction in the city center. And also around 300 new street projects are in the planning table underway every year. And even though city has this joint construction program, I need to say that every site in Helsinki, every construction, every street construction site is a joint construction site. Everything we do is joint project, meaning that there is water utilities, energy company, gas, telecommunication, etc. Also, there are lots of minor projects which are by the city or those joint operators. City is giving around 3,000 excavation permits per year and 6,500 other public area use permits yearly. And city works as a permit provider, but also as an operator and supervisor for those other operators' works. And what was the challenge when we are talking about the former mayor's project and developing the street construction in Helsinki overall? These are like 3 picks that I have made. When the mayor started his project back in 2018, 2017, the city environmental department listed much more things to develop, but I would kind of concentrate things to these. Customer expectation, what the citizens are, what are their goals and expectations for the urban environment and the quality of urban environment. It's totally rising all the time. One issue is that this street construction process and all the operators, it's a big engine, I would say, but we are getting too little power out of it. We could be much more efficient. We could get much like more things out every operator, but as a whole also. And there are future risks, also potentials, but that we should face and be ready much better than we are right now. That's the big picture. And to kind of define or point out this customer expectation thing is that back in 2019, in autumn, City of Helsinki made first time within their customer expectation study a question for the street works. And from the level 1 to 5, when the 1 is poor, the result was 2.7. When we were asking what the citizens, street users, entrepreneurs, etc. think about street construction works in Helsinki and all those work arrangements. And we set the goal, this result to be 2.3 or more, but last year, 2020, it was 2.8. So not that much proceedings with that. And also the complexity of the urban environment and street cross, there's a new street cross section here in picture. Sorry, texts are in Finnish, but and this picture is not showing everything because there's a 5G and all the other issues that we don't even know what is happening in next 10, 15 years. What is the street looking like? So as a city, we should think that what's the street 2050? Okay. Here it says that the first step to develop the street works was meeting held in December with those operators. Good. But the problem is that this meeting was held back in 2005. And not that much development was before Mayor Vapaavuori started his project. So we kind of kickstarted things again. And my duty was to kind of boost this development and bring all the players together, although there was other studies, other processes going on. So I worked for the city between August 2019 and August 2021. And now the development is ongoing in some parts, and I will tell you now what should be done. What are the foundings within these 2-3 years with the major Papavuoris project? One big issue, one big thing was this study made by Aalto University. There are people also here who participated this study with their workshops. Thanks for that. And there are still opinions that these foundings are not relevant, but I think those are and really are. First of all, there are frequent exceptions. Of course, everyone who is building something or in new environments, there are exceptions that have to be approved. But these are daily when you are working in the city center of Helsinki. And these exceptions affect major effects to lead time and in block or target, smaller detailed target scale, and meaning that things are pending. And the contractors for the street works are not able to estimate and after that pricing these expectations as well they should. And reacting and managing the changes needed, for example, those exceptions found, solving these problems takes too much time. And a reason for that is that this kind of a mandate to solve these problems in acute and daily basis, it's too difficult. And then the overall management and construction time is wasted to minor issues, and things are not proceeding, and then the citizens and street users are starting to complain. Why are we not doing things as we say? Of course, there's a development needed for time management and site logistics, especially for the time management. We are lacking really a common time schedule planning between the operators, meaning also city. And the goal is for that, of course, shortening the lead time. And we had a pilot for 3 pre-construction phase projects, and there were lots of good ideas, especially from the contractor sides. But these pilots were not that successful, and we need to. And City of Helsinki should develop that model. Also, there is minor commitment problems. All the operators, like I said, every site is a joint working site. We should develop also the commitment of all operators to more developed, efficient work in the work sites. And one big issue is also situational awareness. And production by site locations, resources, and real-time schedule in digital format is basically missing. We had few pilots, and the real-time information is limited to only basically those who are actually working at the time in the site. And also the common time schedule is not updated. And a systematic way of presenting and visualizing situational awareness view is still missing. And These 4 things mentioned here as a roadmap for better street works was by Aalto University. We need operational environment development in overall. We need to develop our contracting models. We need to, of course, develop our processes and methods. But we need to also kind of a starting point to other development issues. It's the technology adaptation. But the least but not last, we need to really develop our attitude. Every operator, every person. And the attitude, this is also, or this is even a bigger issue for developing those, for example, transport or traffic arrangement in those working sites. It makes you smile. It makes all your employees smile. To those people who are passing your working site. It really makes your working site safe, efficient, and comfort. Citizens, those employees working in the site, all those entrepreneurs and other shareholders. Attitude makes you continuously evaluate your competencies and processes on a daily basis and makes you develop, at least try, and makes you think future in the very long run. But the more technical development issues, like the operational environment development, which is also one kind of a starting point, the city needs to jump from the project thinking ideology to life cycle optimizing. And that means that if you have like Mannerheimintie, you know that it's going to be renovated. There are going to be major traffic arrangement in few years. That should be like a 10-year, 50-year like view to that street section. How you are going to manage your street assets. But also needed, I really stand behind this idea that comprehensive study to define underground elements in systems. Kind of a starting point to start street building again, that we know in next 1,500 years that what is below the streets. Contracting models development, of course, needs pilots. For example, these pre-construction phase pilots, but really developing those kind of contracting models to minimize, for example, the harm cost. What kind of a bonuses we can provide, what kind of penalties we can claim. And also kind of tackling the legalization of infra construction, because it's true that after many street projects in Helsinki, there are some how you say, kind of a different opinions how the street construction really went between the city and the contractor. But also this kind of old joint site model must be further development, because we have now alliances, we have now different kind of contracting models, and kind of a time passed that model. So there are now commitment between, for example, Helsinki Energy and Helsinki Water or Helsinki Region Environmental Services that this should be like done together. Methods and processes development, we need within the individual work site or project, we need much more systematic approach towards risks, but also opportunities. And we need also systematic approach to harms and benefits street works are causing. Other are a little bit more detailed, but for example, closing the streets. Between those 2.5 years I worked for the city, this was kind of a taboo. we cannot close streets. But for example, Helsinki Energy did a major working site pilot during last summer, closing one of the biggest streets in Helsinki city center, and it was very good. No like the lead time was 50% from not closing the street. That was very succeeded project or pilot. But also these were ideas developed in those Aalto University workshops, where the construction sector was very active, and I totally behind also with these ideas. Technology adaptation, situational awareness is the most critical thing here. There are people against that. Why do we need these kind of things? And also from that point, remote monitoring and planning, more utilizing BIM and non-destructive technology to use also for those things below the street surface, but suction excavation, you name it. But these technology adaptation things or pilots, it's pioneers. And Pointscene is one of those. Kreate is one of those. And also there's a picture from Raide-Jokeri light tram, where we piloted this new kind of a channel for telecommunication cables. And there were lots of people against that we cannot do that. But it was, after all, it was very successful pilot. And there's a picture from the pilot we did, or it's ongoing with the Kasin katutyöt right now with the Pointscene, and these things should be like spread and much more utilized. What are the benefits of those and these pilots that we have done? There are other issues that are not that technical to develop street construction in Helsinki or in nationwide in Finland. We need to update the law on the maintenance and cleaning of the streets. It's totally old law. At least it must be there must be done minor modifications for that. But also from that point, city needs to update or develop new right-of-way and street works payment schemes to kind of boost the lead time development. But also this worksite arrangement control for those who are having their own working sites. It's not city's responsibility to like control or monitor your working site. One must done that by itself. But also national guides, new guides needed. And the city of Helsinki did this resident-centric worksite experience guide, which is very good and be applied to any other cities in Helsinki or in globally. Also, we need much more asset management. We need objectives and KPIs to really develop our street keeping. But we need also a strategic level asset management plan for all the major players, all the infrastructure operators in the city. And we need also a kind of a situational awareness view for those major streets in 5, 10, 20 years period, where the real estate needs are also linked. Street, it's not like the it's very physically linked to real estate, of course, but all those maintenance needs must be included. You need also like humor, because what we have done is the competition for those construction sites, and especially those arrangement sites are doing. And we have had 2 years in a row students doing working construction site monitoring, and that was like a huge success. And especially this summer, where those youngsters bravely contacted those working sites and operators, telling them that you need to develop your arrangement, and the answers were like, I was totally surprised how positive those answers were. And you need people for that attitude also, but you need to lead people to do better. You need incentives, you need those payment schemes, you need more, you need better contracts, you need information, guides, etc. But after all, you need passion to really develop your work together with your other operators. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyrki. Yeah, great presentation. Once again, I'm really happy to see also your sides of the construction, because we heard about the contractor's side, and now you brought in the owner's perspective and also the sort of the developer's perspective to the scheme. So about the some of the points raised, I had one just in my mind, but I sort of lost it way back here. But if you think about the contracting models, for example, and the how the incentives are currently put, so what would you change first to make sure that both the city and the contractor would benefit from?
I would add, of course, it needs like much more studies, but this like, for example, if you say that we are like shortening the lead time, let's say 20%, but if it's not happening, what happens then? Because then the harm cost may be like much bigger when you are, for example, for that 20% you are closing the street, okay? But if something is happening, there are those exceptions. You really need to like allocate what's the harm cost to street users and citizens. But that's the model I would like to add, at least pilot in some contracts. Who is paying? Because when the lead time is shorter, of course the citizens are benefiting from that, and then the city is benefiting from that. But it's not like it's difficult issue, but we should like give a thought to that, really.
So basically, yeah, actually that brought me the question back to my mind, because we wrote a blog post about these cascading failures, and you pretty much like are really saying that you should prevent the small failures happening constantly, because they sort of have a cascading effect there. And this is sort of, if you would concentrate on the small scale things like changes to plans, like underground conditions, what you find on a daily surprise level. So basically, if you would incentivize something, you would incentivize the small things that wouldn't be leading to major issues.
Yes, one solution and can be then attached to like the individual goals also. Yes.
Very good. By the way, in our like live audience here, about 15 people, do we have any questions for Jyrki before we go to next presentation? Unless there, or in case there are no questions, I will say a big thank you to you about the presentation, and and we'll continue to transport authorities or Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency presentation, and Miss Marion Schenkwein should be here already on remote connection. So yeah, thank you, Jyrki, and welcome, Marion.
Thank you, Lauri.
Yep. So you are ready to go?
Ready to go. Thanks.
Good. So Marion Schenkwein is the InfraBIM specialist in the Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency, and she will be telling about open BIM or BIM-based workflows from the asset owner's perspective. Thank you, Marion, and please.
Thank you, Lauri. Yes, so good afternoon, everybody. Like Lauri told you already, my name is Marion Schenkwein, and I work at the Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency, FTIA, as an InfraBIM specialist. I have long experience in the field of BIM in infrastructure, and I'm also active in national and international BIM standardization work and on forums such as Building Smart Finland and also Building Smart International, where I have quite active roles in the infra and railway rooms as well. So, and in my presentation, I will discuss some productivity issues in the construction sector based on a case study of Kirri Tikkakoski. But first of all, I'll go through some facts about FTIA. What is it and what do we actually do? So the FTIA is an agency under the Finnish Transport and Communications Agency. And FTIA is responsible for planning, developing and maintenance of the state infrastructure network. We also have the operational responsibility for implementing the objectives for route maintenance and in the national transport system. We focus on designing, developing and maintaining road, rail and maritime transport routes, and we strive to ensure the transport networks meet the needs of our citizens and businesses. And in cooperation with the ELY centers, we operate as the primary partner in the planning of transport systems. We operate responsibly by limiting environmental damage, and we also are an expert procurement organization. In our responsibility, infrastructure assets in worth of 20 billion euros, and the current spending on ongoing projects is about 1.1 billion euros. We have 480 experts as permanent personnel, but we employ indirectly on projects some 14,000 people. Okay, so now you know something about my background organization. And next is the case study. So I assume that most of you have seen this diagram or some similar one. And it shows the development of productivity since the 90s, actually, in agriculture, manufacturing, mining and construction sector. And as you can quite easily see, the construction sector suffers from poor productivity, and that is true decade after decade. And the construction industry employs about 7% of the world's working age population, and it's one of the world economy's largest sectors. Yet the industry has really an intractable productivity problem. It has been said that maybe some of the poor development might be traced back on the huge improvements that have been made in health and safety measures that have been taken in the construction industry. And yes, that probably is true, that many safety measures have been implemented, but still the construction industry also has the highest number of fatalities of all industries, unfortunately. Well, in any case, the productivity gap in the construction sector is a huge issue, and we all have to deal with it in our different roles. Well, quite a while ago, I already read an article from the McKinsey Global Institute, and it was about improving construction productivity. And it kind of didn't leave me alone, the article. The report listed some external and internal reasons for poor productivity. External reasons being stringent regulations, dependence on public sector demand, industry fragmentation, mismatches in risk allocation and rewards, also informality and sometimes even corruption, which luckily isn't really an issue in the Nordics. Also difficulties in navigating in the opaque construction markets. Whereas internal reasons would be subpar project management and execution, inadequate design processes, and under-investment in skills development, R&D, and innovation. In this report, there were also 7 ways identified to improve the construction sector productivity. They would be reshaping regulation and raise transparency, rewiring the contractual framework, rethink design and engineering processes, improving procurement and supply chain management, improve on-site execution, infusing digital technology, and reskilling the workforce. Excuse me. The writers claim that with the adoption of all these 7 points, the sector's productivity could increase up to 60%. It's quite a huge claim, I would say. That made me curious, and I tried to align these findings on the project Kirri Tikkakoski to these 7 steps. And well, join me to see if we can find all the characteristics on the project to fit each of these steps. So here we go, case VT4 Kirri Tikkakoski. So this National Road 4 is situated in central Finland. It's partially in urban areas, and the road section is very busy with 15% heavy traffic. The construction includes 17 kilometers of motorways with 2 landing strips. So landing strips meaning emergency landing strips for airplanes. There are over 25 kilometers of light traffic lane. We have 6 interchanges, 30 bridges, and the cost estimate is 139 million euros. The project manager of this whole project is Jarmo Niskanen from FTIA. For this project, design and build method was selected. But contrary to a more traditional design and build method, development phase was added prior to the construction. This feature is otherwise known in, for example, alliance contracts, and it is used to develop the project, its designs and processes, in cooperation between the owner, the contractor, and the designer before the actual project begins. So during this phase, also a common understanding of the BIM goals and processes was developed and documented. And this was really essential in order to engage all the project parties to a shared overall BIM implementation plan, and also to stick to it during the whole project. During this development phase, also a preliminary construction plan was made, based on which the final estimate was calculated. And again, based on this final cost estimate, the final contract was made. So here we have then the construction phase, and the National Road 4 will be open to traffic August next year, and the whole project will be completed in October 23. So what we have here is, well, not quite your average design and build project with some added spice to it. Okay, and then to the points introduced in the McKinsey report. Point 1 was reshape regulation and raise transparency. So FTIA is a government agency, just like the name says, and we, like anyone else in the business, we have to follow a myriad of guidelines and regulations and rules and standards and requirements. But within these limits, this project has developed new ways of working and doing things differently, being more efficient and also more transparent. We have reshaped things in this framework, one example of which this development phase that I mentioned before. Also, as project owners, government agencies can help and encourage innovation and new approaches by prescribing means and methods of delivery or, well, requiring use of certain technologies. A good example of this is that on FTIA projects, BIM is mandatory since 2014 already. The next point would be rewire the contractual framework. In a conventional project, the quality documentation, including as-built models, is actually collected and delivered to the customer after finishing all the construction works, like this. So you have the project beginning, then you have the different structures, and then you have the quality documentation, and after that you have the quality installments. It's quite a chunk of money. It's typically around 10% of the whole contract value, which is paid at the end of the project. Well, at Kirri-Tikkakoski, there was a different approach that was introduced, and the quality documentation was actually collected after each structure or segment was finished, like this. So as soon as the documentation was approved, also the quality installments were paid. And well, it's quite obvious that this method has big benefits for both the contractor and the customer, meaning the Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency and of course the citizens. The contractor has a steady cash flow and a very clear incentive to deliver the documentation as soon as a structure is finished. And this means that the documentation is up to date all the time. And it makes it easy for us to stay on track that the quality requirements are really fulfilled and that the documentation, including the as-built models, is provided according to the guidelines and our requirements. Point number 3 would be rethinking design and engineering processes. Well, quite often, unfortunately, the case is that on projects, only some disciplines are capable of delivering really high quality BIM for the construction process. But in this project, the requirement was very clear from the beginning. It was BIM-based design and construction for all disciplines without exception and using OpenBIM. So we have bridges, we have noise barriers, we have water and sewer on this project. We have, road structures, we have cabling, landscaping, and so on and so forth. And we have very clearly seen on this project that only by including really all disciplines, it is possible to truly get the most out of BIM-based design and construction processes. A little bit more of this rethinking design and engineering processes. One solution in the direction of rethinking design and engineering processes is also institutionalizing value engineering into the design process. and also a push for repeatable design elements. And Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency has a 3D object library that was originally developed actually for the railway discipline, but nowadays it also includes objects such as lighting poles and others. And our goal is to really make the library even better and more suitable for also road projects. The fourth point was improving procurement and supply chain management. On this project, digital technologies have been fully adopted, and here are only some examples of paper-free orders. We have BIM-based design approval, where the design review is done based only on the model. We have BIM-based rebar orders, and we have also prefabricated bridge formwork. And all of these result in less errors in orders and also faster delivery. We have better quantity management, and we have less waste, for example, from the formwork works. So, and here you have also a glimpse on an example of a design review documentation from the project. The fifth point, improving on-site execution. Like I said before, every discipline has been designed and collected to a common data environment. We have lighting, we have cabling, foundations, noise barriers, game fences, water and sewer structures, and of course the road layers. And like this, we have been able to plan all works. We have been able to plan all work steps well ahead, and have, like this, been able to build without any mistakes or collisions in one go. So all of the road structures have been built with the extensive use of machine control. Okay, you probably remember this picture from the beginning. It shows the Lintukangas rock cut. And in the second picture, we have the same spot as a picture, as a visualization. And then we have an aerial picture, and then we have a laser scanning image. So especially on this form, you might think that, well, there's nothing so special about using drones and laser scanning nowadays. And yeah, of course, you're absolutely right. But we're pretty sure that it hasn't been used to this extent before on infrastructure construction sites in Finland. We have monitored the progress and invoicing of works through the extensive use of drones on this project. And the constructor updated the 360 drone photos of the site once a month, and more often if the site was more active. Also, the supervisor had his own drone using the same base station, and he had his own checks on the site, on the active sections, also approximately once a month. Also, augmented reality was used on the site. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that, but through the use of augmented reality, for example, it was used for checking the completed structures. And for example, a missing downspot of a bridge was detected in that way. The seventh point, we are coming to the end quite soon. The seventh point was reskilling the workforce. The construction site is huge, and the role of an individual quite easily gets lost in the making of such a big project. But on the project, it has been the goal to do the very best to communicate the importance of the contribution of each person in the big picture. So the goal has been to give a good overview of the whole project. And with BIM tools, BIM tools are an easy way to ensure that we all have the same shared understanding of the project. We have provided training and done our best to encourage development of individuals and organizations likewise. And like I said in the beginning, everyone on site has a really significant role in making the project a success. So it's important that everybody understands their part in the big project. Okay, so let's see how we managed with the 7 steps to improve productivity. Regulations were reshaped and transparency was raised. We did rewire the contractual framework and rethink design and engineering processes. We also improved procurement and supply chain management and improved on-site execution. And we did our best to infuse digital technologies on site, maybe some new materials, and definitely advanced automation. And yes, we did also reskill the workforce. So this project has been able to save over 26 weeks of design time in the design process. And this equals nearly 1 million euros of savings. And the construction works are almost 1 year ahead of schedule. So I think that this is pretty impressive for a project of this magnitude. And we see that the implementation of BIM-based workflows and processes has been essential in streamlining the design, construction, and handover procedures on the project. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Really, really nice results, and not even nice. I would say that those are sort of exceptional. So 26 weeks ahead of schedule in design processes or savings, and 1 year ahead of schedule in construction works. That is really exceptional. So congratulations, first of all, and thank you for the great presentation. And glad to see that the FTIA is really doing their best and your best to sort of help the digitalization process. We have been also luckily a part of the Kirri Tikkakoski project since the beginning, together with Destia. And as far as I understood, there has been a lot of sort of reality capture used in different methods and different technologies: drones, laser scanners, 360 images, whatever, mobile phone scans, photos, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what do you think? What would be the sort of from the asset owner's perspective? What should you do to the data, or how that should be like taken into account when carrying out these new success projects maybe in the future? So do you have any like ideas on what to do with the data that the site, the supervisors, the surveyors, everybody is doing?
Well, first of all, I didn't participate on the project myself. I will make sure to bring your greetings and congratulations to those people who really are involved. And your question about the data, like you said, you just described a huge amount of data that has been collected during the construction phase of the project. For sure, it's a big task to filter out the relevant data that is really can be used and is relevant for the use and maintenance of this road section. It would be, well, unwise to include all of the material that has been collected during the works. That would have very low value for the future use. But the handover of the as-built models, and also including the point clouds and pictures and such, is of big benefit, and has to be done with big care. And we have this Velho system at FTIA, which is the project data storage, where all the handover documentation and as-built models are delivered. And from this data storage, then in a later phase, also the maintenance will be able to draw the data they will use, and also maybe the data that some linking projects in the future might need. I don't know if I...
Yeah. Definitely, you definitely answered my question, and yeah, it's great to hear that. Of course, it will be stored somewhere, but most likely the relevant one stored, and maybe the other like less relevant data could be stored in somewhere in like folder storages somewhere in silos, maybe. But what do you think? What could be done when you when you define the processes for next construction projects like this? Will you be improving your guidances or instructions towards contractors or towards designers? How to sort of make good use of the learnings that you have had in Kirritikkoski?
Yes, to all of them. So yes, we are definitely going to collect the lessons learned from this project. And at the moment, we are also working on the next InfraBIM requirements from the Finnish Transport Infrastructure Agency. Also next year, we will have a guideline coming out for ordering and or the tendering process of laser scanning, and also with including quality requirements and so on. So we definitely are doing our best to pull all the valuable information from the project, and we are also working hard on developing our own guidelines and requirements in the direction of having the most out of modern methods of working on site and collecting data. One more thing, and I think that the big focus in future is also on we need to see that also the maintenance gets a digitalization leap quite soon.
Very good. One more question, just to confirm: is Finland the most sophisticated and advanced in BIM-based processes in design and construction?
Of course we are.
Yes, of course we are. Yes, yes, good. And let's make sure that we are even better in the future. So, thank you, Marion. Great presentation. Thank you for the insights. And yeah, there was one comment on the chat. It was not actually a question, but Mr. Teemu Kimiväki from InfraKit joined the conversation as well. And most likely Teemu is saying kind words and hi to you, and thank you for your presentation as well. So now we have a 5-minute break coming up before our last keynote speaker, and then there's one additional product launch coming up after Jero's presentation. So 5 minutes of break, and let's be back then. So Yes, and welcome back. Sorry, there was a echo somewhere. Okay. Yes, we're back. So, in any event, of course, there are technical difficulties, and that was caused by me. So I'm happy to disclose my personal mistake on that. So sorry about that. Now we have our last visitor speaker coming from Infrapioneer Group and also from YIT, actually. So when we asked Jero to join the keynotes, he was actually part of Kreate at the moment, but now you had your first day at YIT Group yesterday. So Jero will be talking about maybe something around deployment of digital solutions or deployment of new stuff to the worksite and to the projects. And Jero is a BIM professional, BIM enthusiast, and within Infrapioneer Group, you are promoting BIM methodologies and processes towards this traditional industry of ours. So, welcome, Jero, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So let's see. Yeah, it's working. Great. So as this is my second day at YIT, I can't much tell you about it. And my dia set or slide set is in Finnish for this international event. So maybe we just move forward to the correct topic of today. So for me, at least, when it comes to the BIM or digitalization and all these fascinating new cool gadgets, tools, and technologies, I love them. I deploy them. It's something that I have a big passion for, to really get the most value out of them and see them on the site, on the construction projects, was it environment surveyors, whatever. And I think the current year or last year has been such amazing times. It feels like every time when I open LinkedIn or web browser, I find 10 new tools or technologies or solutions that I could implement onto the construction site and help the projects go faster and better. And as you can see, was it then drones, point clouds, machine control systems, IFC, a lot of interesting things. And as a main contractor, mainly I'm looking for two different benefits that the solution should really solve. The first, what is the most preferable one, is the complete automation. So we can just take the solution, implement it on our processes, and kaboom, we don't need to do certain tasks because it automates it completely. And then the second one, which is more common, is to get more clarity on the projects. It's really important that we can lessen our risks. We can find those problems from the designs or any other thing onto the site, so we can pre-plan and prepare for them and fix them before they become a costly issue. But as a really big enthusiast of BIM and all these digital solutions, the end result becomes like this. Aki, from your project, how many tools did you have in on use for the site? 7, 8? Maybe 10. Yeah. So that's the situation of today. We have 10 different products. We may get consults, we may get people who just fresh from school, we get professionals who know the traditional way, and now we have a challenge that we need to somehow use these cool new gadgets and tools and solutions that really help and have a proven track record, and we have these people who we really need to get to get inside. Yeah, my English is today the best. To really learn and get the practices deployed. And I think this is becoming more and more challenge every day, because we are always adopting new tools, new ways of things. But the big challenge then comes when it goes to the production. How do we deploy something like this to every person on our construction sites? And that's something that we probably never solve completely, but that's something that we really need to figure out. And I think it's really important, especially for construction workers, is that we are not so focused on being on the top technology or having the most coolest gadgets on site, but empowering the adaptability. Whatever changes, new technologies, new processes, whatever happens, we can always change and adapt to the new style as fast as possible. And I don't mean that we have one team that goes there and that's the star team who will then show messages and speak on the events on how cool and amazing things we do in YIT or Kreate or wherever. But we get deployed, we can deploy those practices to the company wide. And I think the big challenges here comes these three different things. First thing is, especially for the big projects, information overload. It happens in small projects as well. It's the problem doesn't disappear, but when it comes to the big projects, if we don't fix the information, then it becomes such a big bomb at the end of the project that it becomes so much extra work. On smaller projects, we maybe not need to fix the issue, but we still have a headache at the end of the projects. And as I said, in big project, it becomes a critical. Then the new is not always better. It's always cool to see robot dogs walking onto the site and scanning the environments, or seeing new different tools, how you can use it. But I think for me, it's really crucial that the tools, solutions, and technologies that we want to deploy really is something that is easy to get the benefit out of. If it requires a lot of effort on investment, or then the value gain from those cool gadgets or technologies is not that great, then why see so much effort to really get it company-wide adopted? We can pilot it, and it was a nice pilot, but we don't want to deploy it company-wide. And finally, I think many will disagree with me on this, but development is not the critical thing. It does not move us forward. It's like any big companies, we have maybe 50, maybe more development projects every year. But how many of those development projects gets deployed company-wide? 1, 2, maybe 5, if we are lucky. So again, it's really nice to develop and improve and rethink, re-strategize. But again, if it doesn't deploy company-wide, so everyone can get the benefit out of it, what's the point again? So simplifying the information access, testing, but verifying, so we can pilot. If it's valuable, we will expand. And finally, I cannot bolden it enough. Deploy. It's all about the deployment, so we can move faster, we can adapt new technologies faster, we can get the value and benefit out of those technologies faster. And when it comes to the deployment, I'm really looking for four different key things when it comes to building the manuals or processes or whatever. So the first thing is that everyone who is utilizing different tools, was it then like point clouds, they really need to understand the file formats and how they can use them. It's very common, even DVG file. When you go to some small site and throw them DVG, they don't know what it is, how they can utilize it. They just, can I get PDF or print DVG? I don't even have any software to open that. Then the ability to really produce the raw data in the level of benefit. Again, that it's not just we have some outsourced service. Let's say surveying is quite common thing to outsource. And if we don't have the ability to really produce the surveyors' data and benefit from it, then it's somewhere over there we don't have any control of it, but let's hope everything goes well. And then can happen or cannot happen that there comes problems. And then finally, again, deployment. I say that often in this presentation, but again, it's not about that foremans or project managers or even site engineers is using the technology. The full value is that everyone collaborates interoperably and really gets the full value of BIM or digital tools. It's not just that we give it on the few people because it's easy to deploy and those people are not changing or anything like that during the project. So we just focus on those people. We should focus on excavator drivers, workmen, everyone. And finally, the maintain the data. I see this really often in projects that I participate in, that we have all these processes, we have manuals, we have all the ways that we deploy something onto the projects. We start deploying, we teach everyone how to use different tools, how to benefit from them, how to produce the raw data. And it's, let's say in 2-3 months, start of the project, we have deployed. Everything is working smoothly, we are doing good job, we get the benefit out of the BIM and digital tools. And everything looks like, hey, this is a dream team, everything goes super great. But then when times goes forward, let's say half a year or 1 year, and then you revisit the project. There's people have changed, it has increased the construction crew site, the new people hasn't been taught or deployed these practices, and information management and all these different things starts to crack in. There starts to become a problem. Only few people know how to utilize these things, and the majority is like they haven't even heard of it. So really, the maintaining the practice and getting it everyone. So when a person comes to the site, he really gets first time. He visits, he learns the tools and practices and knows how to do things on his part and how to benefit from them. And I think that's really critical. That is very often overseen, that we really don't do that. And I think those four key things are really important in every deployment that we do on our projects. Without those, it doesn't really get in the full value that we are really aiming for. And as a use case, surprise, surprise, I will be showing example of Pointscene and how I deploy Pointscene on construction projects. So initially, the people who have used Pointscene or any other point cloud software solutions, we know that first we need to do the flight planning, then we go with the drones, we fly the all areas, then we go to the photogrammetric processing, we process it so we can get the orthomosaic and the point cloud as well. And then after that, we will put it on the Pointscene where foremen and project managers and civil engineers can benefit from it. And usually if you are starting, if you want to teach deploy Pointscene and you are starting to teach the whole process of producing and all these small little tasks that you need to do before you get the value, the people usually don't want it, or they turn away, or they say, that's above my pay grade, I don't want that. But when you do the process yourself, you start that you do the, let's say, boring work, and just put the images and documents onto the Pointscene and start with that. Hey, here you can see, you can do the project planning in here, see on the 3D, see on the 2D with the DVGs, do the traffic control planning really easily. No need to start finding old PDFs where you start drawing top of it. Doing the quantity controls, no need to start looking for the receipts for the truck drivers. Yeah. And start with the value first, get them intrigued. And when people get more interested of the value that they are gaining from this tool, then you start teaching them how to produce the raw data, how to do different things, flying the drone, it, and it starts to be like this kind of like positive spiral that goes forward and forward. And soon you have another drone pilots who know their things and can deploy the same things forward. And finally, again, maintaining the data is really crucial on this point, that if you, as an outsourced service or as a separate entity, go do the boring work and only provide the site the value, then again, the issue comes that if you are not maintaining the data, you are not so close to the project as the project personnel themselves. And if they need something very accurate data that happened a week ago, we found something, massive pipes or whatever, and something like this, and they don't have the skill sets to produce the raw data or maintain the data to get the full value, then again, mission failed. So I think remembering those 4 key points is a really crucial thing. And what I showed earlier about the lot of different tools and products and so on that normal work site really needs to know, I think one of the key values of Pointscene that I think someone spoke earlier today is the integrations. Again, what this really does is that we don't need to teach everyone to use every single tool on the tool set. Foremen can focus on InfraKit, surveyors can focus on 3D Win, bridge designers can be in Trimble Connect, designers, Autodesk Civil 3D, and pilots can focus on Pointscene. And the data will flow and enrich everyone's experience and utilization of those specific tools. And I think this is something that I deeply hope that in future most of the software vendors really focus on, that we have seamless connections. We can only have, let's say, only 5 products that we need for our daily work. We can deploy 5 products really easy, but if we have these small areas that you just need to use their service in one place, then it becomes our work really difficult. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jero. That was awesome. Awesome summary for the like visiting keynote speakers. and summarizes sort of everything that we are sort of here for. So a big thank you for the presentation. So you have been working with the construction people and construction employees for some time already. So what do you think is the sort of the first thing that they get the inspiration from?
The construction workers.
Yeah.
Well, most of our motivation comes from laziness, right? If we don't have to do the heavy thing or boring thing, it's better, right?
Okay, so if somebody else does the sort of the boring thing, or you make a system that does sort of the most of the boring stuff, and you just deliver the benefits to everyone. So maybe that's the.
But that's about the like if the software offers fully automation, that's the dream. But again, that's something that is maybe in the future. It's still we need to do the boring and hard work.
That's very true. So what do you think? You have now joined YIT, and your company slogan is "Together we can do it." So if you think about today's speakers and today's keynotes, do you think we can do it?
For sure. Teamwork is the dream work, right?
Yeah. Very good. You're a slogan machine. So yeah. So thank you, and let's give one round of applause to Jero as well. And we have our product launch coming up soon, but we need a few seconds of setting the headphones to me. So be right back. Hey, yeah, now we're back. Hopefully you didn't get far. So now it's the exciting moment for us and hopefully for you as well. So we have went through a great day of visiting keynotes and a great amount of really insightful information. I hope you got at least as much as we have. So now we're closing to our closure of the session, but luckily we have something exciting for you. So we have a product launch. So Jonne was supposed to be here, but he actually was concentrating on finalizing some of the product launch topics. So now I'm here as a solo, but let's make sure that we are all here later on. So Pointscene launch. So today we have been talking about situation awareness. We introduced the image already in our previous presentation and on the slides, where we connect all the different players and all the different data feeds from the construction works. So we are now really close to the actual launch. So I made a great animation on the launch. So if we go from 3 to 1, if we shout together, 3, 2, 1, go! Lift off! So Pointscene is now launching our first public API. So Pointscene API is available for invitational users and guided use cases our developers will support. We will support you to build custom applications that use the Pointscene's already industry-proven and wide range of reality data management features. And you can sign up if you're a developer or interested in that. You can sign up for our sort of early access program, and then we will guide you from there. So what does this? Jero was talking about the people on the work site and the different users, like going from the technology back to the human. So I will tell a little bit more about what that actually means. So what the API actually enables and what it really means. So you have a question in your mind that, okay, so what? So what can I do with the API? And we see it as it enables each user group. It enables different types of things. So first, we will introduce a powerful drone mapping engine within our API. So, well, yeah, that's one. So that is definitely one first case where already we're doing some of the heavy lifting that Jero mentioned. We will be able to do in a streamlined process on the cloud. Then we will have more efficient and more versatile data conversions. So there was a mention about the different file formats that you need to support, etc. So we have a set of tools available for creating these automated processes. We will improve the connectivity between the different solutions. So not right now, but later on when the API is being further on developed, we will introduce proprietary format support, etc., which will take a lot of burden from BIM coordinators, etc. And then we will have a exciting one more thing in the very end of the presentation. So simple tools for the everyman on the site. So let's dig a little bit deeper on the drone mapping solution. So, well, actually, I will be here. No, not yet. So this is a toolkit that will help surveyors, site engineers, project managers to handle the drone, for example, drone processing or any type of like photogrammetric processing workflows. And one more thing. So we first, like when we start, we will support first the RTK imagery from drones. So if you have an RTK position enabled drone unit, you can upload your images, or you can use your images directly in our processing cluster, and we will calculate you orthophotos, point clouds, surface rasters or models. We have already a filter for ground classification, and basically it's possible to create different types of workflows for different types of use cases. So here are a few examples on the sort of the results that our system can provide. So we have an orthophoto example actually from the city of Helsinki project that Jyrki mentioned. We automatically calculate the surface model and then create a ground filtered model for ground works and calculations. So the filter that we can set up removes all the buildings and vegetation from the model. So basically, the earthworks calculations you can be doing more easily. Of course, we have the point clouds there. So we are reaching similar sort of results as you would do in a like desktop solution, but most likely a little bit faster. So From Pointscene, you can now, or within Pointscene, you can calculate orthophotos, surface models, point clouds, etc., and use them interconnected either in Pointscene or in your application. So all of these features, the calculation part can be integrated with your application or your workflow. So then, additional or the next item is the additional conversions and format support. So this will help BIM coordinators. This will help surveyors and site engineers to manage with the format and file format conversions, etc., data management. And of course, supervisors as well. It's a little bit. It's late in the afternoon, so the battery is drying out. So in Pointscene API, we already handle most common or pretty much all of the reality capture formats and the CAD and GIS formats that you could expect. So we leverage a lot of open source components in the API, which they are already available as a service in the cloud. So we can do these different types of conversions as a part of the workflow. We will introduce land XML support. So for example, it's possible to even create land XML surfaces from drone images. So basically, the full sort of process from the images to the model itself that you can use in a Trimble Connect or InfraKit or design solution. It's possible to do automated progress calculations. So if you have models from different dates, you can create these, for example, stockpile monitoring just based on your recurring drone data. And it's easy to, or easy is a relative term, but it's easy to set up these project-specific setups, because every construction project, as we heard today, there are alliance projects, there are small, medium, large cases where you have different types of stakeholders in place. So you need to have like project-specific setups. So we enable that. And one more thing, or two more things. We have something within the API that enables sort of enterprise-level BIM workflows, and helps ICT departments or technology partners to create these third-party integrations. Let's see if next slide comes. Yes. So that relates or results in better connectivity. So we enable third-party integrations, and we already have an example of that. So the integrations can be directly for software or hardware providers. It enables automating routine tasks, and the system can be linked with basically any cloud storage, for example. So if you store your, let's say, drone images in a cloud folder, the Pointscene API can be synced with that folder, so it always retrieves the newest data, does the workflow, and returns the data back to the folder, for example, or back to our API, or back to our app, or a third-party app. So it's a quite extensive mix of different opportunities now. And one concrete example, we might have, let's see, I will try to point it correct location. Yeah, so we have an example case. So since June or summer this year, we have been working together with Advian and their Groundhog solution. They launched this Android phone, which you have a RTK positioning device with, and they were capturing locations and basically a real-time point cloud, and then they are doing cable mapping solutions based on that, or cable installation mapping. And we extended that workflow with Pointscene API, so that now when Groundhog, the Android phone with the RTK positioning, when a user captures the data, they basically capture the real-time positioning feed and then the video files and timestamps. And these are the data that Pointscene API takes in. And what we do next, we calculate the orientations from the image frames or the video frames. So this is a mapping of a small excavation. We calculate basically an orthophoto, a mesh model, and a point cloud from that site, and merge everything together, and we can output these type of data formats, georeferenced metric 3D data from the device, from a third-party device to Pointscene API or to the use case. So exciting, right? So we're able to now support third-party tools. We're able to connect between different ecosystems in the construction scheme of the whole scope. But we have also one more thing to show, I think. So this goes to our users on the field. So unless you don't have, or in case you don't have a Groundhog device, but you do have an iPhone. If you're a foreman, if you're a builder, if you're a designer, if you are a supervisor, site engineer, etc. So basically anyone on site. So let's see. I have a backup video there, I think. Well, no, that way. So we are also launching Pointscene Capture app for iOS. So for Apple devices, it works best on the newest Pro versions, like 13 or 12 Pro, but basically in any iOS phone, so iPhone, any iPhone. And with the iPhone, you're able to do everyday documentation of certain features. For example, the surprises that you find on site that Jyrki mentioned. You can document them. You can create a metric 3D data just by using your standard iPhone. You can use it for outdoors or indoors, and we will have standard export formats for your use case. And it's already connected with Pointscene API, and it will be connected with Pointscene Web Services, which means you can use the same data in InfraKit, in Trimble Connect, and all of your CAD and BIM or GIS solutions. So now there should be the video coming up. Sami, hit it. So yeah, here you go. So this is a video. I will show you. I will dare me to show the demo directly on live. But yeah, so basically, Pointscene Capture app. You can capture a construction site or any features or formations that you want to scan. And we use the real-time LiDAR information from the newest iPhones to create this type of mesh model, 3D OBJ mesh model, which you can then use in your application. And that all that data with the image frames and what the scan you find there can be then sent to the API. And here you can see a preview of that. So it captures the image frames, and it captures a real-time 3D model. So it captures the frames and the metadata. And then also we can see the 3D preview of that capture right now. And then also these data can be then sent for further processing. But now I will show the same thing live. So let's see how it works. Hey, just along with Pikku Kakkonen app, so and Moomin apps and all the things that a dad of a 3-year-old should have. We have Pointscene. We have Pointscene Capture app. So now I'm starting Pointscene Capture app. So yeah, it works. Yeah, it's like in Apple 11th. I wore my turtleneck just for this. So yeah, basically this enables, or this gives a little bit of superpower to everyone on the site. So basically when you click here, you wait for the camera to initialize, and boom, we have a triangulated network of this site. So let's assume that this would be a change or surprise that you found on your work site, and you would need to produce the information to your designer. So basically you capture, you can see the frames, we capture the phone location, you can see the green tablet or tab there, and then we're capturing the frames, 70 frames now. And when you are finished, you can end your scan and then go back to scanning, and let's see. Oh, I'm not logged in. I had lost my login somewhere in between, but that doesn't matter right now. So basically we are capturing the image frames here, and we're capturing also the real-time 3D information here. And this, if I was logged in, of course there is a demo effect. So if I was still logged in here, I could just push play here, and it would be sending the data to Pointscene API to be further processed. And when it's finished, you can then utilize the resulting data, which can be a 3D mesh model, an orthophoto, or point cloud, in your favorite tool of choice. So, exciting, right? So now we're bringing superpowers to basically everyone on the construction site, and you just need to learn. You just need to figure out what you should be doing with that. So we will help you doing that together with our partners, of course. Oh, let's skip with this one. So we will, of course, if you're interested, you will find you can register for a invite only test stage of the app, but it will be available most likely sometime early next year. So let's skip these ones. So if you're interested, you can join our invitation list at pointscene.com/capture-app-invite, and of course you can find the link also from the Pointscene staff. So this was a pleasure from our side, at least, and hopefully a good also day for you as well. And Christopher Winquist from Advian, from Groundhog, just sent that great combination of Pointscene and Groundhog solutions. Yes, you're most definitely correct. So in case you don't have any questions or comments here in the audience, then we will say thank you and see you next year.